Greetings, chefs, and welcome back to the kitchen for another Genshin Impact Genius Invocation TCG guide. Today we're going to be looking at the Consecrated Scorpion, Serpent, and the All-Devouring Narwhal. Why am I doing all three of them in one video? Well, it's not only that this is the most competitive deck, but it's also the best way I can showcase their individual abilities and strengths. Because of course, what else is the first impression series than teaching you the entire character's kit, tips and tricks, and deck building so you can play your favorite character in the TCG. Without further ado, leave a like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. I'm going to give you guys a big warning off the bat. Yes, this is going to be a bit of a yap fest. I have 3 characters to explain, but again, it's all worth it because this, again, is the best way to showcase how strong they are as individual units. So before we get started right here, we're going to go into the Scorpion first, because the Scorpion, I'm going to be honest, is the easiest. These two, oh my goodness, these two drive me insane, okay? It took me forever to like actually put into words of like how you explain the kids system. But out of the way. So first off, both of these characters right here, the Consecrated Beast is a new type of tag. It's going to be this one right here, as you can see, the Consecrated Beast. And what this does is that they have a special card that they generate at the start of the match, and they're going to generate 6 of them per character, right? So right here, Consecrated Scorpion, you saw it at the start of the match, snap my fingers, boom, the thing gets generated, and then it's Consecrated Flying Serpent, boom, they get generated. And this is going to be the Bone Cruncher energy block, and we'll talk about that more in a bit. But first, let's go ahead and talk about you know what all this stuff actually does, right? So Bone Cruncher's energy block is going to be a 0-cost card. We're going to see it in just a second. If anything, I'll actually let this play out, and we're going to go ahead and play this all out, yada yada yada. And what it does is that it's going to, a 0-cost card right here, it's going to generate you not only 1 dice, but also give you 1 energy at the cost of discarding a random card in your hand, which has a highest dice cost, right? So right now, if I play this card, it would actually cost me my Adeptus. Of course, I don't want that, you know, because Adeptus is actually going to be super important later. But yes, this is super duper useful because I'm sure you all know the power of having 1 energy and 1 dice. It's just like an I haven't lost yet. Very strong ability, right? And of course, this has a cooldown of, you know, just like I haven't lost yet. So you can't play like 5 million of them because you have like 5 million in their deck, right? But yes, that is the whole basic of this. And these, both individual characters, have special abilities that are going to scale off of this. And of course, you know, feeding into the whole discard mechanic that's very big in this patch, and also feeds very much into the whale over here. Yes, let's get ahead started on Scorpion. We have both the normal attacks, which there's physical damage, nothing special, right? But we have Stinging Spine. Deals 3 electro damage and creates a 1 Bone Cruncher's energy block card, and adds it and randomly place it within the top 2 cards of your deck. So it's going to be very consistent. You're going to put one of these immediately into your deck, and it's not only that, but it's only the top 2 cards, so it's much easier to get, right? Unlike Serpent over here, who's going to do it a little differently, right? Now, what can we actually use these Bone Cruncher's energy block for besides generating dice and stuff? Because you actually want to keep these in your hand because they're going to do a little more for the character burst elemental abilities. So the elemental burst, Thunderbolt Blast, deal 3 electro damage and discard up to 3 of these Bone Cruncher energy blocks cards from your hand right here. And then you're going to create 1 Thunderbolt Trap status on the opponent's side of the field. We'll see it later in the video, but yeah, it's going to be one of those debuff statuses right here. And basically, it works very similar to Klee's Bombs or the Fatui Resonance, right? Thunderbolt Trap, after a character on the side of the field uses the skill, deal 2 electro damage to the team's active character. And the amount of usages you can get is going to be based on the amount of Bone Cruncher energy block you discard. So right here, if I were to burst right now, I would actually only get 1 debuff status, and it's only ever going to trigger once. And that's pretty weak, right? You know, you really want to stack this up as much as possible. It's not going to hurt you, right, with Scorpion to only do like 2. That's not the worst thing in the world, especially in a competitive scenario, but you really want to try and get it to all the way up to its maximum stack of 3. And that's why, again, Scorpion's very simple. Does damage, you know, and then it gives a little trap. It doesn't require too much. Now these guys, oh boy, get ready. You know, in general, over here, you know, Scorpion is going to be sort of your card generator. Now, this person is the card drawer, and why I put them in second, because Consecrated Flying Serpent skill, the Swirling Squall, is going to deal 2 anemo damage and draw 1 Bone Cruncher energy block from your deck. 1 Bone Cruncher energy card, draw 1 card for each Bone Cruncher energy card in your hand, up to 2 cards per round. So you can not only draw, you know, 1 in general, but you can also increase the amount that you draw, you know, based on the amount in your hand. And that's going to be super important because your Elemental Burst has a ridiculous ability that is so fun, and I'm sure there's like 1,000 clips already. You can see it inside the GITCG Discord of the Elemental Burst. Deals 2 anemo damage and discard all of your Bone Cruncher energy blocks in your hand, and deal double the damage dealt for once every 2 cards that you discard. So that's right, this is a multiplying skill, okay? So at base, right, it does 2 damage, but then you discard 2 of these blocks, right? And that's going to make it 2 times 2. That's 4. Not very impressive, okay? But let's say I have 4 Bone Cruncher energy block in my hands. Well, that's going to be 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8. That's 8 damage. And guess what? That's only 4 cards. Your hand has a size of 10, my friend. So you can go really freaking high. And the thing about it is that it's also multiplying it by the base damage. So if I play something like Adeptus, I can actually turn something into, like, you know, a few cards into a 10 damage burst. That is ridiculous. And keep in mind, Bone Cruncher's energy block gives you energy when you play it. So that is the big thing between these two characters, is that they can accelerate their burst and then also increase their power with these blocks, and it's super duper powerful, right? And of course, both these characters are going to work off mass discarding. And what's a character that's going to work off mass discarding? Well, in multiple videos that you've seen before, in both Kaveh and Apep, the whale is here, and it's going to be eating all of these cards immediately. So their passive skill, Insatiable Appetite. You'll create 1 Deep Devourer's Domain. Deep Devourer's Domain, cards you have discarded or used for tune will be consumed. For every 3 cards you consume, the All-Devouring Narwhal will gain 1 extra max HP. If there are at least 2 cards amongst these that have the same original elemental dice cost, gain another 1 extra max HP. If all 3 cards of the original elemental dice cost, gain yet another max HP for this instance. Now, that's very confusing. It's a lot of words. I warned you, it is a yap fest. My goodness, right? So you start at 5 HP, but you can increase this HP to the freaking sky, dude. It's like crab, but you can actually gain your max HP. And the specifics on this is that you need to be very careful, because if you just discard, you know, it's based on card cost, right? So if I discard a 0 cost, you know, it's just gonna be 1 HP, you know, no big deal. But if you're very much keeping track of what cards you were discarding, so let's say I had 2 cost cards, like 2 Adeptuses in my hand, right? If I discard at minimum these 2, and then I also discard this, you know, I'm actually going to gain more HP than I typically would with a 0 or 1 cost card. And that is a pretty big deal, because, you know, you'll see in this deck, I can actually pull it up right now, right here. I have multiple cards that are costing, you know, closer to 3 dice cost, like Legend of Vanessa and the artifacts. And that's super important because, you know, the whale wants to be able to steal all of these abilities, you know, and take the most amount of HP it can get from cards super duper quickly. And when you run stuff like these, especially like Magic Countdown, it's going to be pretty easy to rank up the amount of damage that you can deal with these abilities. So just keep that in mind. And then there's also like the last one, it's just like, if all 3 are the same cost, I mean, sure, if you high roll, you high roll, you know, if you do it, you do it, right? But yes, Insatiable Appetite is going to increase your max HP all the way to the freaking sky. And now this is all going to feed into your damage, because Starfall Sours here at base only deals 1 Hydra damage, but this character will deal +1 damage for every 3 maximum HP provided by Insatiable Appetite, with a maximum bonus of +5. After this, you use the skill, you'll be discarding 1 card with the highest original dice cost of element in your hand. So basically, you know, it's going to help you fuel your discard engine, especially because Whale is intended to be an endgame character, right? You know, you're going to be able to still discard even without any support cards with your skill, so that's super useful. And then you can also gain this max bonus, and this bonus goes freaking high. We're going to see later, you know, how high and how crucial, you know, this ability can go, especially with, you know, very smart plays with some pro players. But yes, this is the last part, which is the Ravaging Devourer. Very difficult skill to use, so lock in the Elemental Burst. You'll deal 1 Hydra damage at base and 1 piercing to all opposing characters, and you're going to summon a Dark Shadow. So yes, you're going to get a mass AoE, and you can't actually increase this 1 Hydra damage, so keep this in mind. Your biggest damaging is going to be Starfall Shower, not this guy right here. It's not that this guy can't do a ton of damage, but it is going to be very difficult for it ever to actually come out, of course, because you need to have, it's going to be based on your stats. But yes, let's go ahead and read the Dark Shadow. So it's going to be a summon right here. And when played, gain attack power equal to the elemental dice cost of the devoured cards within the highest cost, and gain usages based on the number of devoured cards with said cost. In the end phase, and when you declare the end of your round, deal electro damage equal to attack power. And when your active character takes damage, reduce the damage taken by 1, but then you subtract the usages -2. So the thing about Dark Shadow is that the summon, right, is going to be based off your HP status from Insatiable Appetite, right? And you need to keep very careful track of this, because like it says, your summon will be reduced by 2 anytime someone hits you, right? And that's going to be a big deal, because if you push this thing out too early thinking it's going to give you a win, it's really not. Because some people can quite literally destroy your summon just by whacking you, and you know that's good for counterplay, but of course you're not trying to have that happen to you. You know, if you're not at a certain point of like maximum HP, you know, I think pretty much a good safe margin is when your whale is probably like a 12 or 14. That's when it's pretty safe to drop the summon. Like, you know, 10 is kind of skirting the line. It's not impossible, right? But you know, you're not going to have a lot of usages, and you're also not going to have a lot of damage. But yes, it's going to be electro damage that scales, you know, based off of the amount of HP, right? And then so you'll do it you know, once when you end your turn, and then also in the end phase. So it can be pretty devastating, but again, be very careful with this elemental burst. Now, enough of all the yapping. Again, very confusing, very you know, a lot of stuff happening, but we are going to move on to the actual gameplay segment and watching how this deck goes. And you're probably wondering also, you know, why you know, I'm only gonna have one normal replay. We're actually gonna review a pro VOD later, because it was really hard for me to actually get any of a match out, because everyone would concede against this deck. You know, to say this at least, people are kind of not a fan of this deck. You can see these wonderful results inside the Asia Weekly that we have in our Discord server. But yes, as we go through the match, I'll also talk about the talent card here. It's going to be the Deathly Cyclone for the Scorpion. And both of these talent cards work very similarly. They just have different passive abilities. But you do this, and then who has this card equipped is on the field, and you play Bone Cruncher and Energy Block. After the next time you switch characters this round, create one elemental die of your active character, an elemental type. Yes. So not only are you going to you know, have this little passive ability, basically right now you can see I swapped to Scorpion. I gained an Electro dice because I played Energy Block during this turn, right? And keep this in mind, because you can play this on other characters. So right now, let's pretend my debuff dice in here, I didn't really play it. I play Bone Cruncher and Energy Block, and then I swap to Serpent. Well, I'm gonna gain that Animo dice that I'm looking for, right? And that's super duper useful. Makes your, you know, your breakpoints and movement super duper smooth. And let's keep moving on with the match. But yeah, that is the talent card for Scorpion or Serpent here, my friend. And we're gonna go ahead and move on, see if we can see if Scorpion does a skill, and then they can have another Bone Cruncher to Energy Block in your hand. And in general, you know, the reason this, you know, set of characters is so powerful is because being able to not only generate the card, right, and then also you know, pull the card out directly, right, without having to deal with any form of RNG is pretty huge. And of course, all of this gets fed into the whale once it does its job, right? So again, we're just gonna keep seeing how the match goes. All right, ouch, a little bit of damage. The basic of it is that you're gonna wanna always start on Serpent using the arcane of the stove, because the stove, right, did get a new change in modern times, because it has a really cool ability where if you use this card in the first round, and you have two different talent cards, right, you're gonna be able to draw out a talent card guaranteed, and that's super duper huge. Here we go, first coming out. There we go, there we go. And talent is super duper essential for this deck, right? Because it can help you fix your breakpoints, and then we're gonna see Scorpion talent in a little bit, but that one also helps you generate even more cards, you know, of these Bone Cruncher blocks. And there we go. We can see the burst at full work with the 2 usages, because they just used one. Now it's starting to really shred down their abilities. Now they're gonna try and tank up with Kirara. You know, pretty decent play, right? You know, you gotta watch out for Mr. Sniper over here. Scattershot Vortex really is no joke, and you're gonna see how powerful this ability can become as time goes on. So here we go, Legend of Vanessa. I'm gonna try and fix my dice a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and also feed the whale. Yes, that's right. You know, another thing is just in general, it does work off of discard, right? So if you do tune one of your stuff, or sorry, not discard, tuning, right? It does. If you do tune your stuff, you can also feed the whale. It's another way to push your whale above the maximum HP. And of course, that thing is going to trigger Veterans Vistage / and or Morishose Hunter. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Lots of stuff in this deck is, you know, very connected, very self-sustaining. And, you know, again, why I wanted to review just this deck itself, you know, all in one video, because it is really important that, you know, whatever I show you guys actually has a lot of synergy, right? It's not impossible, of course, to whale specifically is going to be the one that you can use the most outside of, you know, this deck combination, because you've seen in my previous videos, remember, go ahead and check them out, in Kaveh, in Apep, right? Those are characters that, you know, very much do work out with the whale, but, you know, this one specifically is probably the highest competitive caliber, you know, that we've seen whale to go to such a degree. And it's really cool to see, like, you know, this combination of beasts and monsters all going at it like crazy, right? You can even see our friend over here is fighting with Scorpion. So, you know, again, you can get creative with your deck building, but here we go. Here's the big hit that you've all been waiting for. I just put on a Adeptus, and let's do a little bit of math, right? So at base, I deal, well, in the calculated form, we do teal and then we have 3 over here, so that's 5, right? And now we're going to multiply it based off the Bone Cruncher's energy blocks that we have, right? And keep in mind that it rounds down, so you have 3, it's still going to discard it, but it won't actually count it for any bonus. So you always want that even number of Bone Cruncher's blocks. So let's see the drill. There we go. I'm actually going ahead and tune one out because I don't want to waste it. There we go. I'm going to shoot it off 10 damage off the gate, and that's just how it's done, man. It's so crazy that you can get even higher. One thing I did do to take a little bit of a look in while I was playing this deck and shenanigans, right, is that I wanted to make sure that basically if you have 2 Bone Crunchers block at base, no Adeptus calculation, it's going to deal 4 damage. If you have 4 Bone Cruncher energy blocks, it's going to deal 8 damage, and if you have 6, it's going to deal 16. Literally nobody can survive a 16 damage hit, pretty much. It's pretty crazy, man. But anyway, yes, moving on with the match now. Serpent has done his job, and you're gonna expect this a lot when you play your own matches, right? Serpent quite literally exists to draw you out your entire hand, have that massive snipe off, and then bullet discard, and then you're just gonna die, basically. That's pretty much it. These two are here to kind of go ham, and then once they die, and now it's the whale's time to shine. I have 13 max HP. Kirara does now do a lot of front pressure, so I can start just nailing them a ton with lots and lots of damage. So here we go. Yep, wow, all the way up to 15 because I also discard, and then I get another one from the Wriothesley Hunter again. That's why this is such a strong artifact. Be careful. It's very difficult with the breakpoints in this matchup to try and make sure that you get everything that you want from here. But yes, of course, it's completely fair, and that's how it is, and that is just how the cookie crumbles. And again, Mega Yap Fest, very self-sustaining deck, contains kind of everything you need together, right? Now, I would show another replay, but like I said, most people are conceding against this. Again, it's nothing against people. People are allowed to play the game the way they want. They're allowed to spend the time the way they want. But I do have a very special, replacement instead, and that is going to be a pro replay review. That's right, my friends. Right over here, we have Koji versus zCrimlet in the Prince Cup, and I actually casted this event alongside Staffa, Windfire Leah, and Stumi, casters you may know from previous events and of course from our community. But yes, let's go ahead and jump right in to this match. I have a 2x speed, so we're gonna go ahead and I might skip around a little bit, and just keep in mind that this is a live replay, so I can't just quickly zip through certain things. But yes, here we go. Beautiful animations from the team over in Genshin Impact. Really love it so much. But yes, we're gonna see Koji is going to be our ConWhale player. It's gonna be on top here, and then zCrimlet on the bottom playing something a little different. We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna let this roll through real quick. And we can already see how their dice will go. Yeah, there we go. All right, now we can see their starting hand. So, pretty decent starting hand. You got Liar Song, you got Adeptus, you got the Scorpion Talent, and then you got the Every House of Stove. And then on the other side, we have, the standard, ramp up, artifact list that you kind of want to get in freeze. The players are going to kind of be weeding out the intentions early on, but let's see what Koji does, as soon as zCrimlet's turn is over, right? Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. They drop down a summon, and boom, immediately pulls out that talent card, just like I showed you earlier. You really want that talent card. And also, just to review real quick a Scorpion's talent card while we're waiting for the players to have their match go through, right? I'm going to go ahead and pull up Scorpion's talent card right now. So basically what happens is an equip card, just like the Serpent talent, and you're going to create one Bone Cruncher's energy block and place it in your hand. After you play Bone Cruncher's energy block, you're going to draw one card and you create one Bone Cruncher's energy block, and leave it, put it in your deck, right? And so the basic is that what it means is that you're just going to be able to generate another one of these Bone Cruncher blocks you can see right up here, right? And that's super duper important because early on you want to have the extra Bone Cruncher energy block so that you can make use of it on Serpent, right? Because then you can play it and then you can swap and then have the extra dice that you're looking for to swap onto Scorpion and then also deal your damage, right? So that's really big. And once again, we're just waiting for the match to go through. It is how it is. Competitive play takes a lot of time. Just get used to it. That's how it's gonna be. Here we go. Flips out a card. There we go. And now we have Serpent Burst charged and ready. A consistent threat across the board. And, probably doesn't even that much damage even because remember we got characters like Herald over here, who don't even have maximum HP of 10, right? So you don't need to go all the way up to that ridiculous height. You could probably even drop it with just like 2 of these or 4 of these, and you'll be totally fine. Once again, yeah. Koji's just taking a minute, thinking about what they can do. They're going to drop Wriothesley and ramp up with Timaeus. Very smart play here. If this person is always going to ramp, then you might as well take the time to ramp as well. Kind of a I shake your hand, you shake my hand. And we're going to move on to the dice roll. I'm just going to go ahead and skip this segment right here. There we go. dice roll is passed, and then zCrimlet is just thinking about what they're going to do next. They're going to swap to Furina. Probably drop something out, just a little bit of a swap stall's turn. And this is where, again, it gets scary. This is the very scary ability of the Serpent, right? Now they're holding them in basically a threat range. Like, if you don't do something with Furina here, or if you don't swap, you're going to lose them, right? Losing Herald isn't the biggest deal because you have that revive, right? And you can also play talent, which is super huge. But it's going to be, again, a game of weeding out the other's intentions. And again, it seems very slow, but a lot is happening on screen right now. When the players are slowly figuring out, what each other is doing, right? So again, you swap. But eventually, of course, you don't have infinite dice. You're gonna run out eventually. So we're gonna go through here. Consecrated energy block comes out. Here it goes, and then scraps that nearest card, right? So now Whale has another tick up on their passive. Again, you have to keep these things in mind and what cards you're discarding. Because it can totally bite you if you're not keeping track of how many cards you're discarding, so you can, optimally have the most amount of HP value. But there is the fast swap into Serpent, and then I believe the Serpent should be capitalizing here because, again, don't play fast swaps unless you're actually going to use them. There we go. They use this card, and then they go ahead and multiply that. And I think we're going to see the Adeptus. Yeah, baby, there it is. Just enough 10 damage, just like I showed you in the replay. There goes Furina, and now it is a Herald and Wriothesley 2v3, and it's definitely possible. Of course, Furina thankfully was able to get her summon out and switch it to the other form, so they're gonna have a pretty consistent healing for at least one more turn. But yeah, they're gonna wait through that, and then they're gonna respond with a little bit of Wriothesley. There we go, boom, drop them in the freeze and start comboing the heck out of that Serpent, because it's done its job though, for the most part, right? It's you're still gonna have to do a good amount of stuff to actually win the match, because these are tanks, bro. Like, either you feed that whale or you hope that these two could do the job themselves, right? And then see Wriothesley can even go for another one. Serpent's already struggling, now swap to Herald, so things are gonna be hard. And there we go, Furina putting you all the way back up to full, like the healer that she does in her rolls. But yeah, swap through the dice roll once again. And then the Serpent, just thinking about it. What are we going to do here? Yeah, just gonna go ahead and draw out another card. And again, that's the big strength of Serpent, man. Like, you gotta being able to draw, up to a limit, not just one, but also having a certain amount within your hands is really nice. So there we go. Once again, and this again, it's a little bit of a threat range. Of course, we know, on the side of a Koji, hey, there's an awesome animation, that there is only one Bone Crusher energy block, and of course, they also got Frozen too. But you can play this card, and then you gain the energy and the dice, and that's a really big way to keep it in consistency. Because of course, Herald is massively valuable when he does this skill here, but you're now out of dice, and there's not really a means for zCrimlet to generate anymore. So Koji just has kind of the reign of the field. If they had one more Omni dice, right, they could actually. Or if anything, they can play a Bone Crusher energy block, use Vanessa, and the combinations really are kind of endless. Of course, you do have to be careful, right, because Bone Crusher energy block does do it at random, so these are both 3 costs. You want to throw away the magic countdown, but of course, sometimes you do a little bit of risk, right? There you go. Koji decides not to risk it, goes ahead, flips it back into their hand, and now they have 8 dice because of the veterans, or I should say hunter on whale right now. Again, very strong. Look at that, 9 dice off of just playing the card, in very smooth combinations with what they're trying to do right here. So yeah, and once again, thinking about it a little bit, so we're just gonna go ahead and swap through. Yeah, use a little bit of draw to try and pull the rest of their hand out, but there we go. They're gonna discard all of these, and now the Thunderbolt trap is now active. They use the elemental burst, right? I swapped through it, right? But now it's gonna be a little difficult. Here, zCrimlet may have 2 extra dice. They can't really generate anymore, unfortunately. They do have a Lumen Stone, but I do believe it is proc. Not quite. Probably not. Yeah, now it's properly proc, but you had to use some, right? And then they're gonna go ahead and just do what they can with this segment. But now here we go, Whale going in for Wriothesley, doing 4 damage. That's massive amount of damage, and doing boom again, 4 damage. Wriothesley is on the freaking ropes, man. And all the other characters are sitting pretty nice. Again, it's not over yet, but that's the power of Whale once it's properly fed. Whale starts out so incredibly weak, and then is able to ramp all the way up, and do its abilities. There we go. Right, yeah. Starts using Treasure, because Treasure, Wriothesley's best friend. Boom, starts healing, gains the dice, and also reduces the dice cost. Boom, Vanarana, get a Lumen Stone proc. There we go. thinking about it, and then we swap over to Herald to tank the incoming damage. Boom, magic countdown, massive amounts of Bone Cruncher's energy blocks. Of course, Koji's not actually going to be swapping anytime soon, because they're holding pretty strong on Whale right now with 16 HP. But there we go. Yeah, drops it, burns it, and then also pulls Adeptus. So that's also an option now that you can do. Bang, goes onto it, and then knocks out the Herald. And then they're able to get back up. zCrimlet here should be responding, in kind with a pretty devastating card. Good old talent. As much as I'm suspecting. But yeah, again, 18 HP Will. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of HP. And then draws out their hand, see what they can find. There we go, and then drops in the talent card. You can see this debuff status is now available on the Whale. So yeah, they're just waiting through it. What are they gonna do next? Skills, pretty valuable. You can get the freeze on the Whale. Of course, you are missing the dice, so you have to figure out where you're gonna get the dice, or if you can even draw it, really. But yeah, there it is. The skill comes out, and it's going to be the prepare one. There we go. Also is able to get a little bit of healing, and the Whale's looking right here. Boom! Knocks him out for 5 damage, and +1 because of Electro Charge. Right? Again, that's how fed the Whale. That's how fed this Whale is. And now it's a 2-dice situation. Wriothesley has control of the field, has treasure in the deck. You gotta watch out, even though zCrimlet doesn't really have any draw that we know as the viewer. On Koji's side, you really got to watch it because, Wriothesley is able to just basically heal off all of this, right? Drops Liven, has the extra Lumenstone, has a chance to draw treasure, use Liar Song, boom, there it is. There's the treasure, and then he's able to heal up, and then gain another dice, thanks to the Marishosei Hunter. But they're gonna end their round right here, and Koji's like, ugh, I gotta watch it, because now that zCrimlet takes the turn advantage, they have Hydro on top of their characters, and that's a really big deal, because Wriothesley, of course, does freeze damage, right? So if that's going to happen, Whale's gonna be locked out of the turn, and then Koji's going to have to survive on the other 2 characters, which is going to be a big deal. Of course, it's nice that Scorpion themselves is at such a high HP value, but they also have freeze, and they can't dance around forever. Wriothesley will knock you out, just like you saw in the other videos, or you face them, yourself, right? There we go. Wriothesley is now really locked and loaded all the way up to 7 HP, dude. That's a ton of HP to have, situation. And there we go. There's a heal. There we go, another one, and then going through it. Boom, knocks him out with just 1 punch thanks to the weapon, and doing the Ice Fang Rush from the status right here, and then we're going into it. We have Whale, and now Koji needs to figure out, a way they can get out of the situation. But boom, there it comes, the Thunderbolt trap from the Scorpion, still coming from downtown, still doing the extra damage, thanks to Electro Charge as well. And now Koji's actually tuning a ton of cards. It was really interesting to see this, during the casting. I was like, wait, what is he doing? To do this, but again, that's the Whale passive, using all these cards in combination to discard, crunch, and then tune. It's going to feed into that damage bonus that you have on the Whale, and now they should be fed just enough, almost. There we go, pulling out the last few cards, seeing if they can get any more, and they're going to go ahead and tune that. There we go, 20 HP Whale, 23 HP Whale, and here it comes, the big hit, 7 damage freaking Wriothesley, dude. That is how you do it. What a wonderful VOD to review. And yes, that is the entirety of the Whale. Again, a very different style video that I haven't really done before, right? I've never really done a pro replay review, but I hope you guys enjoyed that, and let me know, if you'd like me to do more of these pro replay reviews, especially when I can't get, a proper video with the deck, because that's why it took so long for me to release them. So sorry, I was gone for like a few days. Of course, I had to cast, and I had to do, a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, that is going to be the end of this video. Here is the deck list that we were talking about. Of course, this is the one that I took, I believe, from the Prince Cup. There's a bunch of variations, right? But in general, you just want to make sure you have the talent, the stove, and then 3 cause cards and Adeptus, and then you can kind of work your core out from there. But yeah, that is the entirety of the Whale, Scorpion, and Serpent video, and as well as some other announcements that I'd like to talk about real quick, is that we have, of course, our tournaments open for, Genshin Impact Geniusinvocation TCG over at our Discord server, discord.gg/TCG. So be sure to check that out if you want to get some nice prizes, or if you want to compete, right? You saw the funny video, the funny image earlier. That's just how it is sometimes. But yes, thank you all so much for watching. And of course, if you want to check me out anywhere else, here is the other content that I do. And I'll be seeing you all next time for the next dish. Goodbye.